Today's topic is about shark attacks in Punta Cana. And as we all know, Punta Cana is home to some of the most beautiful resorts in the world, breathtaking beaches and nice ocean waters, crystal blue, perfect for swimming. But how common are shark attacks? Well, today we dig into the data and we're going to let you know if you should be worried about swimming in the ocean on Bavaro Beach in Punta Cana. So let's get into it. So the first question is, are there sharks in Punta Cana? And the short answer is, of course there are. It's the ocean, right? If there's an ocean, there's marine life. If there's a marine life, there's going to be sharks. Now, there's a lot of different species of sharks. I'm going to run through them here. They're quite numerous, more than you might expect. We're looking at cat sharks. We're looking at reef sharks, lemon sharks, nurse sharks, bull sharks, silky sharks, tiger sharks, which can be very dangerous, blue sharks, and whale sharks. Notice I didn't talk about great white sharks because they're just not very common in the Caribbean. Now, of all the species I've just mentioned, I should say that although they're numerous in terms of the types of sharks, in terms of their actual numbers, there aren't quite that many. Not as many as you'd find in the coastal waters off the United States. So the next question is, do the sharks come close to shore? Well, as many of you might know, if you've been to Punta Cana before and have sailed in the waters in and around the resorts, the Punta Cana shoreline is bordered by a rather large coral reef. And this implies that the sharks are quite rare visitors to the shallow waters near the beach because the reef acts as a natural barrier to them. So it's a little difficult for them to get around. And you know what? It's probably not an area where they're going to find food, so they're not going to be that interested in coming close to shore. It has happened, but it's pretty rare occurrence. Now, as mentioned before, great white sharks, which are the species that a lot of people are worried about, actually are kind of rare in the Caribbean. They do venture there every now and again, but it's not where they prefer to be. And if we're talking about sharks overall, a lot of divers who've been diving in the waters in and around Bavaro Beach have said that they've been diving for 15 years and have yet to encounter a single shark. So they are rather scarce in the area. Okay, so where did I get the numbers for this video? Well, two websites. One of them is called KiskeyaLife.com, which has a really good article about shark attacks in Punta Cana. And the other one is sharkadactdata.com, and I've put links to both those sources in the video description, so you can go dig into that data yourself if you want to later. I should mention that today's video we're going to be talking about unprovoked shark attacks. That means people are swimming in the ocean, they're minding their own business, they're not bothering any of the sharks, and the sharks randomly attack them. This is different than what we call provoked attacks. And provoked attacks are where people are fishing or spear fishing, or they're bothering the sharks in one capacity or another, and the sharks get a little teed off and attack the human. So don't bother the sharks. Let's look at the data from an international point of view. There's three countries that stand out in terms of the sheer number of shark attacks that occur in them. Those countries are the United States, Australia, and South Africa. So if you're visiting any of those three countries, you might want to raise your shark awareness to level 10 because a lot of shark attacks happen in those three countries. A vast majority of them, in fact, happen in those three countries. So let's start by looking at shark attacks in some of the neighboring countries in the Caribbean around the Dominican Republic. We'll start with Mexico. Now, Mexico, you would think, would have a bit more shark attacks than some other Caribbean countries simply because they have a larger shoreline, right? More shoreline, more sharks, more attacks. And that, in fact, is true. In terms of Mexico, there have been 62 total shark attacks, 27 of which have been non-fatal and 35 which have been fatal. So you got to be careful around Mexico. Now, we should add that all of this data I'm presenting dates back to the year 1900. So you got to keep that in context. This is over 120 years. So in that regard, it's not that many, but you don't want to be one of those 35 people who were killed by a shark. The next country we're going to be looking at is Cuba, which is not too far away, and they've had 28 total shark attacks, 12 of which have been non-fatal and 16 of which have been fatal. So another country where you want to be careful when you're swimming in the ocean. The country we're going to be looking at is the Bahamas, and their data is quite interesting. They've had 74 total shark attacks, of which 67 have been non-fatal and only 7 have been fatal. So I'm just taking a guess here, but maybe the sharks in that area are smaller, which leads to less fatalities. I'd like to dig into the data and learn more about the species of sharks that are attacking people in the Bahamas. I wasn't able to find that data, unfortunately, for this video. Okay, so now, finally, the big moment. Let's look at the numbers for the Dominican Republic. And the numbers, as I said, are rather shocking. In the Dominican Republic, since the year 1900, there has only been 4 non-provoked shark attacks. You've heard that right. In over 120 years, we're looking at only 4 unprovoked shark attacks. 2 of them were fatal, and 2 of them were non-fatal. Now let's talk about the 2 fatal attacks. One of them occurred in 1963 near Santo Domingo, and this was a gentleman swimming out in the ocean in rough seas, a little further away from shore. The other attack happened in, I believe it was 2010, and this was a gentleman who was surfing in an area called Boca Chica in the Dominican Republic. So, again, far away from shore, not in a swimming area that you typically find in front of a resort. Now, in terms of Punta Cana proper, there has only been 1 shark attack. That's it. 1 shark attack. It was non-fatal. And let's look at the details of that attack. Okay, so the attack happened on February 12, 2016. And it is the only shark attack ever recorded in Bavaro Beach or on the beach in Punta Cana. The attack occurred in waist-deep water in a swimming area in front of the Rio Bamboo Hotel. There were several people swimming at the time, and this woman was swimming with her friend in waist-deep water. Now that's important to remember. This did not occur in deep water. It was only waist deep. A large wave was heading towards them, and they turned their back to the wave, and a wave knocked them over, and it was at that time that one of these 2 ladies was bitten in the leg. It was quite a nasty bite. She went to the hospital, or she was brought to the hospital. I'm assuming she didn't walk there on her own. And she had surgery there and stayed in the hospital for a total of 12 days to recuperate from that 1 shark bite, and then was flown back to the UK for further treatment. So it was quite a serious bite. No data on what type of shark it was. At first, they weren't even sure it was a shark, but it was later confirmed that indeed it was. So what conclusions can we draw from all this? Well, first of all, it's pretty safe to go swimming in the ocean in Punta Cana. In terms of number of shark attacks, it's very, very low. You're probably more danger on dry land than you are in the water in terms of the Dominican Republic. So if there's marine life, there are potentially sharks in the water. So let's not pretend like the odds are 0, but they're very, very low that you'll have an encounter with a shark, see one, much less be attacked by one. And yeah, so I guess what the big takeaway here is that the beaches are extremely safe. So by all means, go to the Dominican Republic, enjoy the wonderful beaches, enjoy the crystal blue waters. Stay aware of your surroundings because there potentially could be sharks, but the odds are very, very low that that's the case. So I hope you found this video informative, and if you're heading to Punta Cana, I hope you have an amazing vacation. If you want to help support my channel, there's 2 things I'd like to ask you to do. Hit the like button on this video, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be returning to Punta Cana in a few short months, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of walking videos featuring some popular bars, restaurants, and attractions, which you can visit for free, and which are all walking distance from the resorts on Bavaro Beach. So if you're going to Punta Cana, keep your eye on this channel. We've got some great content coming for you in early 2023. Take care. Thank you for watching.